And as a Virgo moon, my Virgo moon was like, fuck this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore. And it was like every time I got myself to a space of like, okay, like I'm good. It was like, wham, one more time. And yeah.
Wow.
But I'm on the other side of it now. We're integrating.
Good.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for whatever is coming next. And honestly, what I've been in the process of releasing this week is this huge karmic cycle that I've been working on for pretty much my entire life. So it was not like this small little thing. It was something that I've been working on for years at this point. So, what about everybody else? How's the year of the fire
Wow.
horse treating you? How's the eclipse and the Neptune Saturn conjunction?
I have Mars and Aries. So it's my Mars and my Chiron. So a lot of bang for my buck. And like for me, it's been because with Mars and Aries, it's home. So it's in its domicile. So it wants to like go scream and fight. And I'm like, no, don't. Like pulling my own leash of like, let it play out. You don't gotta Captain Saberho everything. Like leave it alone. And like knowing when to jump in and when not to jump in, when to scream and not scream, when to fight and not fight. Like you don't have to fight everybody,
Right.
everything. Just, keep my energy for me and let a higher, power take over and like nobody's getting away with anything. And like reminding myself, because that's been, I mean, like our natural tendency is to like charge.
Yeah,
And like,
exactly.
that's not always the smart thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel that. Lots of
But a lot
lessons,
of purging.
which is a very uncomfortable energy to be in, I feel like.
Well,
But
because I thought I'm like, I thought I did this already. I thought I already handled this. I thought I felt this already.
exactly. That, in my opinion, that's when it's the most frustrating. It's fine when they show you like a new cycle and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I was kind of aware of that. Let's go ahead and work on it. But when it's that thing that you've been working on for years and years and years, and you thought you had released it and you discover a new layer of it, and they're like, hey, we need to work on this now. And you're like, fuck, like I've
Again?
already done this. I'm so tired of this lesson.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel you. Mine has been around expectations, which is huge for my Virgo moon. Loves to plan things, and so she creates a lot of expectations for experiences, which also creates a lot of situations where she feels disappointed because the expectations don't necessarily meet the reality, or I miss out on something really amazing because it wasn't what I expected for it to be, and so I don't enjoy it as much even though it was still amazing. So that's been fun. That has been super fun. Anybody else want to tell us about what your week has been? You don't have to.
I had my dog got his teeth, like four of his teeth removed on Friday, and then this week he got gastroenteritis, but it wasn't clear what it was, and so he was, blood was coming out of him. It was really scary, and I had to keep like calling the vet and being like, he's not better. Whatever you gave him didn't help, and
Yeah.
so a lesson in like I hate to be like the person to speak up and keep bugging someone over and over, and just like such a lesson in like it's okay to bug people if it's sometimes it's necessary to be aggressive almost about like your need for care. And yeah, I ended up being hospitalized. He's fine now, but it was I've lost a lot of dogs in the last 3 years, so it was definitely like a lot of shadows around, you know pushing for your needs to be met and grieving that loss. And yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because, like a lot of times we hear people talk about how difficult it is to have a conversation as a woman with a doctor when you're experiencing health issues and being taken seriously. But that also happens in other spaces, like at the vet. I remember like when I would have issues, if I was talking to one of the male vets at my vet office, if I took my animal in, it was very difficult for them to take me seriously. They had like some female vets they were very understanding. But if my husband took our pet in, He was coming home with medicine. They were like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? Like, it was this huge deal, but it was like I was just a frantic woman, and it probably wasn't anything serious. So yeah, I feel like, and it's also, I feel like women struggle with that, advocating for themselves more than men do on the flip side. And so yeah, I feel like it's a big one. But I hope that he's doing better.
He's doing a lot better.
Good.
Yeah, we probably overdid it yesterday because he was so excited to be out of the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's doing really well. Yeah,
Good.
thanks. And I'm glad it was like just a, lesson didn't end in like heartbreak.
Right.
That.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally feel that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So you guys probably know what we're going to be doing. We are going to be doing our group quantum weaving, which is essentially like group manifestation. It's like manifestation meets magic, but we're working with frequency in order to step into the experience that we're wanting to have. So these group weavings, I try to focus on collective experiences rather than weaving personal experiences. And I felt very strongly enough that it came to me while we were doing the last quantum weaving last month that we would focus on unity for this month. And so that's exactly what we're doing, is we are focusing on the awakening of unity consciousness and moving away from that paradigm of separation. And so I'm going to kind of explain to you what we're doing with our ritual over here. So I've brought like every crystal I could find in my collection that would in some way kind of bolster and support the frequencies that we're trying to bring in with this. So I have some clear quartz and some Loch Lomond quartz, which are essentially just meant to kind of help us hone into that frequency and kind of amplify it a little bit, make it a little bit easier for us to connect with it. I have two different kinds of fluorite. I have a lavender fluorite, and then I actually don't remember what kind of fluorite this is. I think it might be, actually don't remember, but I know this one's lavender fluorite. And this is more for that open-mindedness, being able to shift our perspective from me, separation, my perspective is the right perspective, into just being more open to the fact that everyone is going to see things different ways. One of my favorite examples of this came from a friend of mine who kind of was talking about if you have two people that are looking at an elephant and one of them is standing at the front and one of them is standing at the back, and they're both trying to describe what an elephant looks like, those are going to be two very, very different perspectives. Okay. One of them is looking at an ass and the other one is looking at a face. And so there's probably going to be a disagreement. Well, that's not what an elephant looks like. I'm looking right at it. It looks like this. It's just that they are looking at the same thing from two completely different perspectives. Neither one of them is less of the elephant. It's just that they have two different viewpoints. Okay. So this is just to have that open-mindedness that every single one of us are seeing different pieces of the puzzle, and we need to come together to create a whole experience. We have rose quartz. I'm sure we're all familiar with rose quartz. Rose quartz is a heart-opening crystal. This is going to amplify that unity and love frequency that we're bringing in. And then I have a gift from a friend who is here with us today. This is an orca agate that she gave me. And it's actually, it's actually a crystal of forgiveness. And I feel like right now there is just so much hatred being spat back and forth between all of these different factions that exist, that forgiveness is something that all of us could use a little bit more of. And so this is also very much a crystal of harmony as well. So yeah, that's our crystals. And then you guys know I always love to bring some black tourmaline in just to kind of help keep at bay any dissonance or distortion that could possibly make their way into our ritual space. So I have that with us here today as well. So the ritual that we're going to be doing, I'm very excited about this. We are essentially going to be, I'm going to go get the other part of the ritual. It is in the freezer. It needed to stay as frozen as possible until we began. But I have a bunch of very small individual ice cubes. And these are essentially meant to represent all of the different ways that we are, number one, frozen and rigid in our perspective, not trying to understand other people's perspective. And two, the way that we are all separated to the point that sometimes we forget that we are all source. We are all of the same field, all of the same energy. It's just that we are all having very, very different experiences within that space. And so ice is separate. It is all different cubes, but it's all H2O. It's all water. So within the course of this ritual, we are going to be calling in the elements to help us. I also had specific star being factions that came in and wanted to work with us, which is the first time that that's happened for me in a very, very long time. I had the Syrians, the Anunnaki. I have never worked with the Anunnaki before, so that was very interesting to me. But they came through specifically. The Mantids, the Arcturians, and the Pleiadians come in. Okay, so we've got like these are all very heavily involved star being races here on Earth, which I think is why all of them came in the way that they did, who are not only supportive of humanity, but they know that we're in the process of shifting into a new period of existence, and that unity consciousness is a part of that, and that moving into the fifth dimensional frequency actually cannot happen unless we have that unity consciousness present within collective humanity. We had the elementals come through. We had the Seelie Court, which is the Fae. We had the dragons. Pretty much all of my deities came through. And then Mother Gaia, of course, very much wanted to come through. And she made a point to say that collective consciousness includes her. It's not just humans. We are of her. And so that collective consciousness, that unity consciousness that we are creating is going to include her consciousness as well. And so she's essentially coming in almost as a human to kind of bolster this work, which I thought was, I get chills now even talking about it. So we're going to use the element of fire. Okay, I have a charcoal disc that I'm going to light off of this white candle. And this is going to represent transformation. And we are going to lay the ball of ice on top of this. And we are going to allow that to melt the ice. So we are literally having a transformation of matter within our space, within our ritual space. And we are moving from that frozen, rigid separation into the warmth, fluid flow of water as an entire puddled unit within our bowl. Okay. So, yeah, I am super excited about this one. Because I feel like it is just very symbolic. The entire thing is just very symbolic of what we're wanting to happen. So I'm going to go grab the ice. If you guys want to talk amongst yourself for just a moment, or if you need to go to the bathroom or do something really quick before we dive into the actual ritual space, and I will be right back. All right, guys. Oop. All right. Never seen Zoom do that before. That was interesting. Okay. So first we're going to call in our elements. We're going to be doing a fair amount of element work with this. And this is a fairly short ritual compared to some of the last ones that we did. But I felt like it was probably one of the more powerful ones that we've done. All right, so let's just go ahead. Close our eyes. Take a big deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in and out. Now, as always, I have some stuff that needs to be said within this. You can say it to yourself. If you have your mic off, you're welcome to say it out loud. It looks like everybody does. Or you don't have to say it at all. I can say it for all of us. But I'll let you know. To start off, we're going to call fire into this space with us. I call you sacred flame, element of fire. Here into this space with us. That you would transform us wholly. And help us to shift from a state of separation into unity and love. All right. I call you air here into this space. I ask that you would cleanse this ritual space for us. Open the minds of the collective that we may expand our perspectives. I call you earth here into this space. Bring here the vibrational frequencies of love, joy, unity, and harmony. All right, to the coal, you don't have to say this part, but to the coal, I'm going to add some rose petals. And this is our earth element that we're adding into this. The coal itself obviously is burnt wood, it's charcoal. But the rose also is going to symbolize the element of earth and that frequency of harmony and love, unity that rose so easily brings into ritual spaces like this, okay? All right. I invite you here, element of water. Move us, the Earth Collective, from separation and rigidity into a state of unity and flow. All right, so here's our ice. I don't want to dump it in the floor, but it's, again, it is very small and a lot of pieces of ice, because I feel like there are so many degrees of separation that we could sit here and talk about within collective humanity. And so I wanted not one big piece, not several small pieces, but a lot of just, this is kind of like pellet ice size. So I felt that that was very, very representative of the degree of separation that we experience right now. All right. So while this coal, the heat from the coal, melts the water, we are going to call now into the space our spirit family to help us fuel the next part of what we're going to do, which is connecting into that frequency of unity. There is already a version of Earth that exists on an alternate timeline that is fully in the energy of unity consciousness. And so what we are going to do is connect to the version of us that exists there and essentially allow ourselves to have that experience with our friends, our family, our neighbors, whoever it is in your life. And just allow for connection with that frequency. Okay. So let's go ahead and just close our eyes again and go back into that space. And just repeat after me. We ask you, our interdimensional family, Mother Gaia, and anyone else who wishes to join us in support of this work, that you would join us now in this space. Now I want you to connect to the desire that exists within you to experience unity consciousness. For Earth to experience unity consciousness. Most often, desire is held within our heart space. So if you want to focus on the center of your chest, allow that desire to guide you to the version of yourself that exists on that Earth timeline where unity consciousness is already a reality. Now, when you connect to that version, you may feel an energy begin to reverberate within your heart chakra. Allow that to just resonate. Allow yourself to form a picture in your mind of what this experience looks like for you. Of what your relationships with your friends and your family, your coworkers, your neighbors looks like within unity consciousness. What feelings arise within you in this space with these people? Focus on that feeling, those feelings, and allow their frequency to resonate within your heart chakra. Now I want you to imagine two doors on the front of your chest opening. And that frequency within your heart chakra pouring out into your external environment. And repeat after me. We are collective humanity, fully unified in love, empathy, and truth. We are collective humanity, fully unified in love, empathy, and truth. One more time. We are collective humanity, fully unified in love, empathy, and truth. Continue to focus on that frequency that you're holding in your heart chakra. And when you feel the amplification of that frequency, it should become more intense. This is your surroundings mirroring back to you the frequency that you are projecting, which is them essentially saying, I see that you are holding a different frequency. Your work is done. And when that happens, I want you to allow that frequency in your heart space to spread throughout your entire body. From your heart down into your abdomen, into your legs and your feet, your shoulders, your arms, and your hands, all the way up into your head. Let it radiate out from your body and into your auric field. And when you feel, again, that amplification, you can just take a big, deep breath and release. And you can release the frequency. Take a minute if you need. And we're essentially just going to say, Thank you so, so much to all of the entities, energies, spirits, and beings that joined us in this space to support this work. And when you're ready, you're welcome to open your eyes. And I would like everyone to know that we finished at exactly 3:33 Eastern time, that is. How we feeling, guys?
I didn't expect to cry.
That was yeah, I could feel that.
I didn't feel
Usually,
anything at first, and then it just boom.
at what part did it hit you the strongest?
When you were saying imagine that frequency, and I kept like wanting to micromanage what it would look like, but it took over and it showed me like, no, you're not telling me, I'm telling you. And it was peach with gold. And I'm like, peach? And just watching it. And then I felt strong grandmother energy,
Oh wow.
like matriarch.
That sounds like Mother Gaia to me. And what's interesting about that is that I have found in doing this work of connecting to myself on other timelines that when essentially whatever I'm envisioning or whatever I am doing, when I don't have the capacity to take that over, 9 times out of 10, that means that I am fully connected to that energy because it is so strong that I can't create an expectation for it. It's going to tell me what it looks like.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. I love that you experienced that.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to share anything, any messages you may have received, any cool experiences that you may have had, anything like that? It doesn't have to be anything specific. So what I'm going to do is, and you guys, those of you who've been here before, you kind of know the drill. I'm going to leave this here. I let this fully melt, and then I will take it outside and I will give back to Mother Gaia all of the ingredients that we used here in our session. So I'll let you know if anything happens. Sometimes I'm not going to let this candle burn down all the way because we didn't technically. It's mainly just here to represent the element of fire. So I'm not going to let it burn down all the way. But if I have anything interesting happen, sometimes when I do work like this, I'll go outside to even just dump water, and I'll have certain animal spirits that come up to me almost as a way of Mother Gaia, especially since she was here with us in the session, of her talking to me, talking to us. So I'll give you updates about that. I may even post a video of it like I did last time when I went and buried the candle that we did within our session last time.
Where did you post it? Did you post it on TikTok or YouTube?
I think I posted it on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Oh, I'm gonna look for it. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, no, you're good. I took it out in my backyard, dropped that bitch in the ground and buried it. It was great.
Cool. I was intending that as the ice was melting, that we're creating the event. They've
Yeah,
been talking about the event since 2000 something. And so I'm like, we're creating the event. This is the event.
I love that. Yes. And it's interesting to me because one of the things that I really picked up on while I was creating this ritual is that I don't necessarily think that it's going to be like the great solar flash or, whatever the event is going to be. And then it's like, bam, we're all just like in unity consciousness. I think that like there are going to be some people that don't want to step into unity consciousness, that are very resistant to that. And so it's going to be like, I think a lot of us right now are already trying to step into unity consciousness, and we're beginning that process. And a lot of it is very intentional shadow work. It is the understanding that like in order for us to connect within the space of unity, we also have to heal individually. And so, like, the actual activation of unity consciousness has already begun. And so what we're doing is just for that need, that awakening to spread. So I feel like it's just going to be all these people all of a sudden who want to start working on themselves and want to start addressing their shadow and want to start loving themselves radically. And then that turns into empathy and love and understanding for everyone else in the collective in a way that most people just can't comprehend right now.
Yeah, and also I think it's funny that you're using ice and like that name and
Oh, yeah,
melting
that didn't
it.
even cross my mind. How did that not
Well, that
cross my
immediately
mind?
I thought of that because I'm Mexican, so I'm like, yeah, let's melt it.
That's
And
amazing. Yeah.
Chelsea, I told Sylvia this the other night, but I went out to Jazz and so in New York, we had a snowstorm and the ice just melted, but now we're having another blizzard. But when I went out at the very end of the show, they just said, like the announcer said, I don't know what they said, in these trying times or in this adversity that we're in, just remember that ice will melt. And it was like a double meaning.
Entendre, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, it's true though, in the same way that Hitler's Gestapo eventually dissolved, ICE will do the same thing. And I can't say it now and not think of it in like both terms, but
Yeah. And interesting how you said the solar flash and what's the solar is fire and the ice. I mean, it's so interesting. And then it becoming water, basically the event is a tsunami of love. That's all it is.
well, and it's interesting because like every time, like I've had a lot of dreams about the Great Solar Flash. I've talked to a lot of people who have been given dreams about that event occurring, and very, very rarely does it ever come through as an actual solar flare or an actual solar flash. And like I've had one dream where it came across as like one big energetic wave. Every other dream I have ever had, it's been a tsunami. It's been a
Yeah.
massive tsunami because water represents spiritual energy. Whenever I have a dream in the spirit realm, my guides will specifically show me water. And that is how they denote to me so that when I wake up and I remember the dream, they're like, hey, this was a dream in the spirit realm. And so you have this huge spiritual energy that essentially just washes over everything. And sometimes, like I had a dream one time where I was at the beach with my family and we were in like a high rise and it hit all the way up to like the 13th floor. Like it was massive and everyone was freaking out about it at first. And then it hit and there was only like 1% of the population that actually remembered it happening and were still essentially like affected by it. And everyone else just kind of went about their business and didn't really care. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening as we have these incremental waves of energetic shifts that are happening. It's like not everyone is going to shift all at once. It's affecting who it needs to affect. And so I think it's already kind of beginning. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily, I think if everybody awoke at the same time, it would be absolute chaos. I already think it's
It has
going to be,
started.
but
Because the good thing of like all the crap going on with ICE is that you're also showcasing humanity and like how like the gangs in LA are having truces and the ones in Chicago, they're coming together to help the public. That's crazy. Like that's amazing. So
yeah.
like beautiful things have come out of this nightmare.
Well, and you're seeing like the people in Minneapolis who are literally standing outside in like
Yeah,
20-degree
love that.
weather. And,
Yes.
they are not leaving their post because they just want to protect their neighbors and they're
Yeah.
organizing themselves. I feel like, honestly, I feel like a lot of what's happening within these communities rising up to protect each other from ICE is actually creating a template for what the new governmental structures are going to look like.
Yeah.
Because I do think everything is going to be very community based. I think we may have some form of centralized government, but I don't think it's going to be a very powerful entity. I think most of the power is going to be held within communities. And, you know, it's going to be the people who are affected by the decisions making the decisions, right? Because
Yeah.
right now you just have a bunch of people up on a hill who aren't really affected by tons of the decisions. And that's not the case for everyone, but the
That's a good
vast
point.
majority are
Yeah.
not really affected by it. You know, you have all of these people who are making these anti-abortion laws, but then they're actually going behind with all of their money and still paying for abortions for the people that they want to get them for. So it's like the rules don't apply for them. It's really just for us. And I feel like that's going to massively shift.
Oh, the hypocrisy.
Oh
It
yeah.
reminds me of what Megan saw when she had her awakening. You should share it, Megan, of how she saw the world.
Oh, like you know how were you saying talking about the community based, like how everything,
Yeah, and like the stores and like Hollywood and movies and all that.
like I had my awakening in 2010, so like I experienced everything as vibrating lights, but like when I would see the world, like how the actual world was that there like all the celebrities died, like the actual celebrities and like people on the television were like unknown people, like people that acted and stuff were like unknown people, and that like everything was very um like all like there was no more Walmart. There was no more like big stores. Like all the stores were like, you know, just every state had it was very cultural, like you know, only things you could get in Kentucky, only things you can get in Florida. Like everyone they had their own businesses that weren't like the same all across the United States. So like everything that was like a Walmart or a Costco or something like really large was gone. Like Amazon was gone.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know how that can all be reversed, but that's how I saw the new Earth, where everything was perfect and everything was corrected within 6 months. Like all the pollution was taken care of by like, you know, mushrooms that could eat radiation in the ocean or microplastics or whatever. Like you know, just everything could be taken care of if everybody was working together. Like poverty, abuse, famine, like all of those things are a lot of them are man-made. So when man is unified, everything can be corrected pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's incredibly accurate. I mean, like if you look at okay, like when the pandemic hit, everybody was homebound for a very long time. Pretty much every single country, I think every single country, there may have been some exceptions to that, had some kind of shelter in place law that was passed. And so you had things like the rivers in Venice, the dolphins returned because there wasn't excessive pollution in the canals. And, you know, you had waters clearing up in certain areas and smog clearing out because people weren't driving their cars as much. And like it was just in literally the month that we were not ruining the earth, she healed herself substantially, like more than I think a lot of us experience or more than a lot of us expected. So I can totally see that. I can totally see that being the case.
Wow. With you saying that makes me think of like when mom gets to take a break and dad takes the kids somewhere and she just gets to focus on herself and like heal and relax so she can pour from a full cup.
Exactly. Exactly. Like it does wonders. Just, you know, just the 2 hours that the kids are out of the house and she can take a bath or take a nap. Yeah, it's great. And that, I mean, that's exactly what I think is going to happen. And like, one of the things that I have been tapping into is that, or one of the things that has been in the forefront is that, you know, you were talking about this vision that you had, a lot of celebrities died. And I don't know if it's a physical death. I feel like it's the death of the power that they hold. Because right now, a lot of people are realizing the truth that the majority of Hollywood are nepotism babies. There are very, very, very few celebrities that actually rose from the bottom to make it to the top. You can, like, I feel like every single day I'm discovering like new people that have some kind of prior connection in Hollywood, and that's the reason why they're so big. And, I was looking at a list of all of the like robber barons from the early 1900s. And like there was a Medici on that list. The Medicis were hugely powerful in Italy in like the 14 and 1500s. Like one of them was a freaking pope. Catherine de Medici was the Queen of France. These are powerful families that have held power. They may, like, their names may be slightly different for one reason or another, but these are hugely powerful people that have been in positions of power for centuries at this point. And so I think that's what that means, is that these families that have perpetuated power and have, like, these are the people that I think are controlling the collective. And many of them are perpetuating the separation that we see. They create news articles that they know are going to outrage specific individuals. And, they create anger and they create fear because they know that those are the two best ways to turn us against each other. And they know that, the best way to conquer is to divide. And so they've been using, it's kind of the same way with, like, I look at the church. The church is kind of beginning to pull away from this a little bit, which I think is very interesting if you look at, like, the Roman Catholic Church. But they have been oriented alongside many, many different political regimes for a very, very long time. Like, they themselves were incredibly political for eons.
Well, they are the original government.
Exactly.
They're the original government, yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're honest, the Roman Catholic Church is really just what Rome became when it fell. But that's it. They just kind of, like, Rome became Christian, and then when Rome fell, it was like, okay, well, let's just become a church. And then they had their hand in almost every single pot, every single nation.
They rebranded. They just rebranded.
Exactly. One of the most powerful rebrands in history.
Yeah, nobody questioned it.
Exactly. So, yeah, I feel like what is happening is that there is a massive uprooting within those houses, within those families, and they are falling from grace.
Yeah, and you can see it in women nowadays. I mean, I'm older, I'm 52, but my daughters, and like, they don't want to have kids, they don't want to get married. There's so many women that aren't dating and they're just tired. And I mean, we're forcing it to change because we're not giving in. We're not feeding the cycles.
Exactly. And it's funny to me too, because you see political response to stuff like that. And you get stuff like the government saying, oh, I'm going to give $4,000 for every single person that has a child. And I'm looking at that as a mom, and I'm like, that's hilarious. That covers maybe the first 3 months of life, maybe. And on top of that, it doesn't even cover what you experience as a woman or as a birthing individual, as far as, like, you don't recover hormonally for 2 years. You don't recover physically, I think, for also 2 years. You never recover mentally. Like, you carry cells, DNA from your child until the day that you are born, or until the day that you die. I will carry my son's DNA in my system until the day that I die, which is magical on one end.
You're a different person. I saw a
Exactly.
TikTok of a lady saying that having a child is a dark night of the soul, and you literally die to the old you and you become a new person. And you're forever changed with each kid. And that's crazy. and like healthcare and everything, nothing supports it. You're just all alone. And it's supposed to be a community, and like it's so hard.
It
And
is.
physically, you're changed forever.
Yeah. And there are other countries that support mothers way better than the US does. Like, I'm not saying that this is across the board. I still think that every country in the world could do a better job of that. But, you have some countries that will give you like a year to a year and a half off maternity leave, which is beautiful, versus the US that's like, hey, send your 3-month-old to
Yeah.
daycare, which I honestly, again, I never realized how heartbreaking that was until I became a mom, which I was very fortunate. I did not have to do that, but my mom did. I started in daycare when I was 3 months old, and she has told me numerous times how absolutely gut wrenching it was to separate herself from me that first day she dropped me off. So I feel like one of the things that has come through for me every single time that I have channeled about the shift into 5D is that there is a huge shift into matriarchal society. And I think a lot of people get that wrong in thinking that that means that like men are second class citizens and women are ruling. And it's because we're looking at it from a patriarchal standpoint, which means that there always has to be a hierarchy. That is how patriarchy is set up, is that there is a hierarchy within society that begins with the most powerful person and works its way down through all of these different people. And matriarchal societies don't do that. They essentially spread the responsibility throughout community, and there is no centralized ruling system. There is everybody playing the part that they feel called to play for the betterment of the whole of society. And I just think that that's so beautiful to me. And
Well,
we're
if you look
already,
at it, women already do everything anyway because the mom creates the energy in the home anyway.
right,
So we just don't have the title. We just don't have the permission. We don't have the
right.
public recognition. But behind the scenes, we're doing everything because the guy can't do it alone. Nobody can do it alone.
Yeah, nobody can do it alone. And like there are a lot of single dads out there that are creating great homes for their kids. And like I don't feel like it is just like I feel like men have feminine energy, especially the ones
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
who claim that, who claim their own feminine energy. And so, they do a very good job of parenting from both sides. But that doesn't make it easier. It's still very, very difficult, I'm sure, to be a single parent.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, we are taking on a lot within our society. It's just that we're taking on these roles that have been demeaned for years and years and years, and are not being given the appreciation that they deserve. And we're already kind of seeing it's interesting. One of the things that I have noticed recently, there is already a shift toward women in power that is happening currently. So you have Kim Jong-un, which I know we're going into North Korea, but Kim Jong-un named his daughter, which I cannot remember her name, as his successor. So North Korea is going to have a female leader. I think it's like the Netherlands has a queen. Like their next ruler is going to be a queen. There's like 3 other countries that I was looking at the other day that their next rulers are also going to be queens that are ascending their thrones. There's just this huge generation of women that are coming into power. And I think that that is significant, highly significant of the shift that we're experiencing into like this rise of feminine energy. And again, that doesn't mean that like the scales are going to tip and it's going to be, like, oh, the feminine is in power and the masculine is not. I feel like it's going to be a balancing. I feel like it's going
Yeah.
to be all of a sudden where we had the masculine that was in power and the feminine is seen was kind of the second class. There's going to be this balancing out because that's all we ever wanted.
Yeah.
We
The
didn't want to
Mexican
subjugate
president,
men. We just wanted to be
yeah.
equal.
The Mexican president is a woman.
Yeah. And the woman who took over in Nepal after the uprising that happened there, female. Like, and I think that the US is heading in that direction. I get vibes from AOC. I feel like she's going to be in some way, shape, or form a part of the new government that arises, and the aftermath of the US, because I do feel like the US is coming to an end soon. That's something that's been coming in very strongly as well. So I honestly think 2026 and 2027 is going to be a hell of a time on Earth.
Heaven. Let's say heaven.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when I say hell, I really just mean fun. But yeah.
Yeah, because we already had the hell. We don't want that anymore.
No joke. Oh man, yeah, we got some good meltage going on with our ice over here. Let's see. So we have, what is today? Today is the 22nd. So we've got like another week and a half left in eclipse season, and our next eclipse, I believe, is a Virgo full moon, and it is also a blood moon. So I'm very interested to see what that is going to be like. It's going to be, I believe it's the last lunation on the Virgo Pisces axis, because the nodes shift in July. So when we hit August, is it going to be? No, it'll be in September because it'll be on Libra Aries. So that should be interesting. Oh, no, wait. No, it'll be in July. Sorry, I'm
What's
just
in
now
July?
realizing
Nodes?
the next eclipse season should be in July because it'll be on the axis of Aquarius and Leo. The south node will be in Leo and the
After.
north node will be in Aquarius.
After Virgo. After the Virgo moon is Leo.
Yes. Yes. I believe the nodal shift is like toward the end of July. I think, I can't remember now. There's like, it's interesting because Leos are having a big year this year because we have Jupiter moving into Leo, which is also happening towards the end of July. And then we have the nodal shift with the south node moving into Leo. So you have like, which this is my rising sign. So I have in like Aries, my sun sign, I have all this stuff happening in Aries, and then I also have all this stuff happening in Leo. So you're going to have like that fifth house persona that is going to be highlighted, what you're leaving behind, what you're moving away from, what's no longer serving you with the north node. But then you're also going to have Jupiter, which is that bolster. So it's like we're releasing, and then Jupiter is pushing to the forefront all of the ways that we can use what's left over from that to create expansion within our experience. That's kind of the way that it has been, like it's been shown to me. And for me, it's identity, or how the world sees me, but it's whatever house that's hitting for you.
It's my seventh house, and I'm a first house Aquarius. So I got a
Okay.
lot going on in my
Yeah.
first house.
Yeah. So this is going to hit you pretty hard because that, especially, you're going to feel it within your relationships, and you're going to feel it within your, especially with the north node. I feel like you're going to be going through a period of discovering more of the truth that you are supposed to be showing up with for the collective. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Has anybody had any interesting experiences with eclipse season so far? I know we kind of talked about this a little bit at the beginning. No? Okay. I was trying to see if we could get us till 4:30, but if you guys are wanting to hop off a little bit early, that is totally fine. I mainly just set it to 4:30 because sometimes we're a little bit more talkative than other times, and sometimes it's just, in the middle of eclipse season, and we're dead from an incredibly intense week of astrological transits. So we literally had a new moon and eclipse moving into the year of the fire horse and a conjunction between Neptune and Saturn, that was so intense. So yeah, I can totally feel it if you guys are ready to deuce out. For next month, I will go ahead and say this. So up until this point, I did my first one of this year. I did on January the 11th, 111, and then this one, of course, we're doing on 222. We won't be able to do that until we move back into double-digit months. So I am hoping to do like mid-March, maybe like on the 15th, like 315, and then hopefully in April I'm going to try to do like probably the same. It'll probably be in like the 5th or the 12th. So just if you haven't already signed up for my email chain, that's where I typically send out that information first. This will always be pay what you can. I don't know what next month's is going to be. Sometimes they don't tell me what they want me to do for the next month until I'm sitting down writing all the advertisement stuff for it. That last one, they were very much just like unity consciousness. That's what this is going to be. Go ahead and get people ready for it. But I have absolutely no idea what next month is going to be. But I promise that I will let you know as soon as I know. I feel like it's probably going to be, because we'll be in March at that point, which means that we'll be at the very beginning of the astrological new year, which will hit on the 21st, March 21st, Saturday, which I'm going to be out of town that weekend. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but we may do something for like, creating a new beginning for the collective, or heck if I know. We may work with some Aries energy, because if we do it later on in the month, we'll have a lot of Aries energy within the astrology. So
Chelsea, you may have to stabilize the force depending on what's going on in the world.
shit, no joke.
Everyone might have to work together to reel it in.
Exactly. Yeah, we may just have to stop a war. That might be what we come together to do. But honestly, though, I am of the mindset, I am so ready for something to break. That's kind of where I'm at. Like all of these people who were talking about, like I think someone said the other day, I think it was Pam Bondi, was like, if we arrested everyone who was listed in the Epstein files, then the whole government would crumble. And I'm like, let it burn, baby. Like, let's do it. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready.
There's undercover people in everywhere. I was in law enforcement for 20 years and I was the undercover. So like light is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But we're the eyes and ears of God, and like doling out karma left and right. I saw a lot of people get fired, die. Like it was crazy. And I'm like,
dude.
I'm just standing here and stuff is happening. So,
Well,
if it happened to me in my small town departments that I worked at, I know it's happening at the government level.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and, one of the things that I was thinking about doing, because in March, especially towards the end of the month, if we waited until the end of the month, I'm not sure when the new moon is in Aries season, but our new moon will be in Libra, which is a sign of justice. And so we may do something for, bringing about justice amongst all of, not necessarily, it's not just the Epstein stuff. It is across the board, just all of the horrible. I think the Epstein stuff is just what they've offered up to us. And there's so much more that goes deeper than that. And so one of the things that I would love to focus on is just a bringing about of justice to
Oh
those
my God, I would
who.
love that, Chelsea. I would love that. Megan and I have already done that twice on our own. So, oh my God, yes.
Cool. I mean, there you go. Look at that. They did tell us beforehand.
There's a new moon in Aries on the March 19th. That's when the new moon is, because the full moon in
Oh,
Virgo is
yeah,
on March 3rd. So
okay.
March 19th is our Aries new moon.
Okay. I still may do that.
Mhm.
Because Aries is March, or Aries is Mars energy. And that's, I feel like Libra is more balanced justice, but I feel like we've passed the point of balanced justice at this point. And full-blown rebellion and retribution would also be in keeping with the energy that we would love to bring to the situation.
That's
So,
exactly what we did. We did that. And
yeah.
it was so cool because we saw in real time like the effects of people in our lives, like things happening. We're like, whoa, we did that.
Oh, damn.
It was very cool.
I love
It's so
that.
exciting. It's so
So
exciting.
there's two new moons in Aries. So there's a new moon in Aries March 19th, but there's a new moon in Aries April 17th because the full moon in April is, like you said, in Libra.
You're shitting me. It's the day after my birthday.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool, cool. I feel like this is like a personality building year for me. That's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah, I'm totally down to do that. So we can focus on that for March, or we can focus on it for April. Either one is fine with me. Honestly, I think I'd rather do that for March, and then April we can maybe dial into some Taurian energy later on in the month. And maybe we already did one for like equality, resource equality for everyone. So maybe we could do another theme along those lines, just because, I have different people that circulate in and out of these sessions. So that might be something fun that we could include new people in creating wealth and resource equality for the collective. So yeah, I think that sounds perfect. I'll get stuff together as soon as I know for sure when we will do this. I'm really leaning towards March 15th, which I know is not too long from now. But I have a funeral that I'm going to have to go to next month and all that stuff. So I've got to leave room for that. But
Can I just tell you, Chelsea, today is my abusive father's birthday, and March 15th is my abusive ex-boyfriend's birthday. So I find that so interesting for
that's,
justice.
yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, so that might work out perfectly then. There we go.
And also, March 15th is the Ides of March, which is
Yeah.
Oh,
turbulent,
shit. You're
turbulent
right.
energy.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's primed.
Decided. All right. So everyone who's here, March 15th, we are gathering to create justice within the collective. Oh, and I was going to ask you guys, just for everyone here or anyone that would like to speak up, do you prefer it when I do the session here and just kind of explain to you what we are doing? Or would you like for me to send you kind of like what we are going to be doing within the ritual so that you can potentially participate on your own where you're at?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay.
I only knew, I thought you were using a blue candle because Megan had said something about a blue candle. And so I was like trying to find a blue candle, but I couldn't find one. I have a white candle with a blue label. I'm like, well, that's gonna have to be good enough.
Yeah, it works. And I ended up using a white candle, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started thinking about that today, and the only reason that I didn't do it before is just because I didn't think people would want to participate. But then, yeah, Megan reached out to me and asked me what I would be using, if, what color candles, if any. And so I was like, people might actually want to do the ritual in their space as well. And it's not something you have to do. I'll always do it here. And this is our community altar. I have a personal altar set up, but this is the one that I use specifically for this purpose. So I'll always do this to represent the community work. But if you guys want to personally do it in your space, I'm all for that. I am all for that.
I bought a blue candle and it wouldn't light. And then I bought a white candle yesterday, not for this, but I was just out and I bought a white candle. And I literally had no other candles except for the blue candle and the white candle. So
That
it worked
is,
out.
yeah, that is very interesting. I love that it wouldn't light for you either. They were like, nah, don't worry about it. Cool. Okay. Well, that's exciting. Um, yeah. So the way that I'm going to try to have that set up is that, the email that you get at the very beginning when you actually purchase your tickets online and it gives you the Zoom meeting and all of the information for logging in, I will have it set up to go ahead and tell you what our ritual is going to be and what you need to purchase and bring into the space. And if I happen to make any kind of changes to that, I will make you guys aware.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to add right before we jump off? All right, cool. Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you to everyone who came.
Thank you.
You guys are amazing. This is one of my favorite things that I do is getting to gather together with you guys live and participate in these rituals because I am a ritual girl. I absolutely love ritual work. It's one of my favorite things about the quantum weaving process. So thank you guys for participating with me. Some of you guys come back every month so far, and I am just infinitely thankful. And for all those of y'all who are new here, I am so incredibly glad that you got to join us, and I hope that you come back next month as we do some weaving to create justice for the collective. And yeah, I will see you guys then. I love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.